Welcome back, everybody, to the Amazon European Masters. We have Macko versus Vodafone Giants coming your way. And boy, these are two teams that have got some great stories coming in here. Macko, I think, talking to a lot of people in the Italian scene, they do truly believe this might be one of the strongest rosters the PG Nats have ever sent to the European Masters. And with the likes of Sebekx on the roster, you have Cboi, StenBosse, like they've got some good players on this roster, very experienced players. But Vodafone Giants, Foxy, absolute miracle runners of the LVP. Awful regular season, snuck into 6th place, and then just turbo ran the playoffs. Like, what happened to this team from regular season to playoffs? It was a nutty performance.
Yeah, I have no idea. They must have changed whatever they were putting in their cornflakes in the morning. 8 and 10 regular season, like you say, squeezing into playoffs, and then having the audacity to come out as the first seed for Spain. Honestly, just absolute beasts.
It's like I'm not the BBC reporter, aren't I? Anyway, yes, absolute audacity. And also it's a bit of a redemption story for Kasing overall, like a bit of a redemption story, because he lamented really on BCXL. Like that was just cruising, didn't really have the impact. It wasn't really, I would say, playing to the kind of level that we expected him to play from previous accolades, and then has come onto Vodafone Giants and has almost been renewed as a player. Like, and he is I'll put it lightly, he's a veteran player. The guy has been around for a while, but to get that kind of lease of life at this stage in his career is really good to see, and obviously he's working well on Vodafone Giants. He
hasn't played a single game of Brazilian yet either. That's his pocket pick. So he's doing it, not even in his final form. So yeah, I mean, obviously I'm biased because Kasing, he's a lovely guy, he's British as well. It's just so nice to see some of these like older names come back into the scene too. Maxwell's back in EU Masters as well. We'll be seeing some of him. But yeah, honestly, like Vodafone Giants, I think definitely one of the best miracle runs we've ever seen in any ERL, and with some fan favorites as well. Miniduke in the mid lane, Antonio in the top side. It's going to be a good game against Macko as well, who, as you say, definitely one of the better teams, if not the best team we've seen out of Italy. They were here in spring as well, same lineup, and they finished 2 and 4. Didn't quite get out of groups, but still 2 and 4 is definitely not shabby. You know, I've seen some teams from across the continent do worse than that at world tournaments. So I think, honestly, as far as Italy goes, I'd be happy about that.
Yeah, I'm super excited to get into this as well. I think Vodafone Giants, I think the question marks above them are, you know, is this a team that just had some kind of injection in that playoffs and it's going to lapse a little bit getting to the European Masters, or is this a team that's going to have a blast out summer performance? Like, are we going to see this team really make it? I actually watched an interview with Kasing, one of the interviews that I think Vodafone Giants put up, and he kind of said, we feel confident, like obviously as you would, we feel confident coming into the European Masters. We could take it all. And, you know, I think that's what we're going to get to see here. I think Macko are a good test as well. I think looking at this group, Macko are probably the least strong team on paper in terms of the rest of the groups that you've got to play out versus. But they're a team that is a stacked roster, and Cboi and Sebekx, they've had lots of time at the top level flight. They played in the NLC, for instance, StenBosse as well. Sebekx is a very experienced player in his own right. This is a really stacked group all round, and I'm very excited to see pretty much every single matchup in this group.
Yeah, just for a reminder, you guys watching this, Vodafone Giants, Macko, who's in their group with them? Kasing and Mouse. So yeah, pretty difficult one to play into, not gonna lie. And obviously a game like this, every game counts in it whenever you're in a group of death. And we're talking big narratives and we're talking all this rubbish about groups. We are steamrolling through the draft right here. First pick for Macko going over to the Seraphine, which I believe will be in the hands of Bushy in the bot side. He's the only one who's played Seraphine so far for this team, but responded by some hard engage from the Rakan. And of course, Lee Sin, who's just, I think he's fairly strong right now. Yeah, he's a pretty good champion.
He is, but you
he's done it. That's mid. That is Nasus mid, by the way. That is Nasus mid. I S you not. That is Nasus mid. I swear down. Sebekx is his most played champion this split. 4 games of Nasus.
AP Nasus mid, right? It's AP
Nasus mid. Yeah. Legit. We are actually going to see that. I don't know why you... okay, listen. I know I'm kind of hired to give the analysis and talk about things and whatnot. I don't really know why you blind pick Nasus mid. I don't even know why anyone picks AP Nasus mid in general. But Sebekx has done it, and I'm going to assume now they're going to band towards getting a favorable matchup. If there's something that AP Nasus does well in all my times playing Arum and getting Nasus and just thinking Emax playing AP, you get that Luden's Rush, you've got insane wave clear, so you really want to, I would imagine, maybe ban out some champions that can match your wave clear so that you can then use that advantage to like move across the map and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think realistically, I'm not certain AP Nasus has any terrible matchups. I feel like, as you said, you hit the nail on the head. I feel like you just slap down your E and then you just watch the wave die, and then you're like, cool, come back next wave. And I feel like it doesn't matter so much for him in that sense. I'm guessing that the AP Nasus is more of a facilitating pick. Like, it's a good way to set up things like potentially the Seraphine bot, you know, and just kind of like when you have a lot of extra damage coming in from the rest of your comp, then maybe just a nullifying mid laner is not the end in the world. We will see the Ezreal Rakan locked in though for Vodafone Giants, an incredibly safe lane. Doesn't have many bad matchups because it's just such a safe lane to play into pretty much anything. And obviously we have 113, and I kind of wanted to highlight 113. He's a bit of a new star on the European jungling scene. Very aggressive. Haven't heard much about him before this, but everybody raves about him coming from the LVP, and so he's on a champ that's going to have a lot of impact this game.
Turkish jungler as well. We just saw a Turkish jungler win in ALCS, so yeah, there's a lot of talent coming out of that scene. Junglers especially tend to be pretty scary, actually, up there with the Polish junglers too. It's going to be that Rise and that GP takeaway here for Macko. I see, this is what I'm curious about now watching this pickup is like the draft, the way it's going right now, is like what do you want to kind of like round out your comp as Macko? Are you looking for more of like that hard carry coming out of somewhere? Because bear in mind the Seraphine's most likely going to be bot side, right? It's most likely going into that bot. You've kind of taken away your options of having like really good like carry potential, because you've already got your mid junk. Well, okay, Trundle's a flex for sure, but you've already got your mid and your ADC taken away, right? So how do you then leverage what you're going to get out of like maybe a strong lane phase here? Or are you just going to try and like just group up, just get those massive AoE groups up, siege with your team, these kind of things? I'm really curious to see like what this AP Nasus shows us as far as what the rest of this draft is going to be. Yeah, all right, you're grouping up and you're sticking together.
You're grouping up and you're slapping them with AoE skills. That's basically what we're getting this game. I actually quite like the pick of. I quite like the pick of the Sylas. Actually, I actually like the Nasus ultimate for Sylas, especially if you're building heavy AP. That will be the Renekton locked in here, so it will be a Karma Seraphine bot, one would imagine, with Sebekx's Nasus mid. That feels like a very scary kind of like, as you said, death ball style comp, where you just throw everything at them and you just have a huge amount of AoE damage. And obviously Kasing wouldn't be Kasing without hovering Zillion. Let's see what they choose. I'm guessing a top lane pickup here for Vodafone Giants. What have they got left? They do have that Camille. The Ornn gets locked in though. The counter engage will come through here for Vodafone Giants. Yeah,
I honestly think having some hard engage is great. I think as far as it goes, Giants are going to be pretty happy with this. Sylas can get some crazy ults coming out from Macko, specifically the Seraphine ulti, absolutely disgusting. Even Nasus ult was fairly good, honestly, on Sylas. Like, you just jump in and suddenly you're huge and you're really hard to take down. But you've got engaged with the Ornn, you've got engaged with the Rakan, even follow-up engage and someone like Lee Sin, like you've got that playmaking. If there's something you want to bring down Macko with this group up and just like spam shields and siege and whatever, then it's just some kind of hard engage. You just slap it all down, you jump into them, you fight them, and you try and stop them from being oppressive. And honestly, I can see Vodafone Giants team comp doing that, but I'm very excited to see how an AP Nasus shows up here in EU Masters.
It's certainly wild, and as you said, it's something that Sebekx has clearly been playing in the regular split, and it's almost something that's very difficult to punish as well. I mean, especially mid lane where it's a short lane, Nasus doesn't have to overextend much. He can just, as you said, slap down the E and just hope that he clears out that wave. It's a very exciting matchup here. It's a test for Vodafone Giants as well, because as we said, I do believe Macko are sending one of the strongest rosters that the PG Nats has had at the European Masters. And obviously, I think that the roster with Taxa and Doxy was also equally as good, but it is another strong showing, I think, for the Italian scene. And they have a very tough group. If they can get a win here versus Vodafone Giants, that sets them up. It sets them up for a potential sneak into that playoff stage.
Uh-oh, speaking of sneaky though, Bushy.
Oh no, uh-oh. Kasing will have that grand entrance and over the wall here. First blood goes over to the Antonio. Maybe not the best target for it, but you'll take first blood where you can get it.
Yeah, first blood, beautiful stuff right there. The Antonio now is going to get an extra, a Kindle gem. Oof, that's over GG. Renekton's done, so he might even get some cloth armor. You know what? Either way, like you say, it doesn't really matter. As far as like the way the lanes will play out here, it shouldn't affect it too much. However, by getting first blood, and I do believe everyone was included in that kill, you get a tiny bit of XP. And that might just be enough for you to get that extra, to get that level up a little bit faster compared to Macko. I know, like, if you kill a ward, for example, then you can get level 2 before the opponent. Like, you need one less CS to make it happen. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too like clued in on like if everyone shares the XP from a kill. But either way, good start there for Vodafone Giants.
They'll take it. No, if they didn't burn any summoners either, so at the end of the day, absolutely absolute freebie. And then, to be honest with you, Bushy knew he was dead, so he didn't burn anything either. So really just one little kill over. You'll take that small gold lead that is obviously kind of giving you a little bit of a platform to work with. And as you mentioned, that top lane matchup, you know, Renekton likes to bully. He's gone for a cloth armor early on. That might now keep the Antonio a little safer in that matchup. Renekton maybe not going to get too much love out of that one.
The thing as well, though, for Macko is, like, you're not looking to play around Nasus at all. You're definitely not looking to play around Seraphine Karma. Really, the only lane that you can go to in this game to look to have some fun is Renekton. I think that's why this Renekton's been picked, because it gives you something to do in the early game. And honestly, into Ornn, Renekton, Trundle, probably not going to have a huge amount of success early on. However, with Trundle being able to just blow tanks open with his ultimate, maybe, you know, after that level 6, you actually do have something to do. You can maybe go to that top side and try and punish the Antonio by shredding all those resistances with Trundle ult.
Yeah, absolutely, StenBosse. You know, as you'd expect, getting the slight edge here versus the Antonio. Antonio is a very experienced tank player. There is one player in the ERLs that I think is the most synonymous with tanky tops. It's the Antonio, very famous for his Sion top, where he just plays full tank Sion pretty much all the
as well
time.
is pretty scary.
Cho'Gath, very famous for him also. So, you know, I think realistically, you know, you're looking at a guy who knows his tank into carry style matchups, and he probably won't be too bothered at StenBosse putting a bit of an early pressure on him.
All right, well, I said we're not playing around bot, but let's see what we can do.
Attila just flat. Use that arcane shift away. It's a very safe bot lane. It's so difficult to punish, and unless you have that ultimate from Bushy or you're able to set up with the beat drop, I don't really think that you're going to get a good engage onto an Ezreal Rakan.
Absolutely not. Really, really difficult one to pull off there, especially when you're a Trundle. Like, you don't have like the hard CC. You've got your pillar, which is great versus certain champions. You know, if you're up against like Ashe and Soraka, then a pillar will just kill them. Yeah, it's a death sentence, but not against Rakan and Ez, who zip and zap all over the map. So, yeah, that's not going to be a lane you can look to do too much in.
You can see 113 just waiting around. StenBosse will have that wave pushed back towards him. He'll be very happy to receive that at the tower. 113 will have to back off. You can see Bushy and Click. I mean, you're going to have priority in this
TP,
lane, but that is a long-range TP coming out from the Antonio as Kasing looked for the engage. I think at this point, though, he should be able to just flash away. Held his flash for quite some time. Actually doesn't have it. He's just dead. Had to flash earlier. Bushy will go down, but Cboi is here to try and punish Kasing at the very least here. Cboi should be able to get that and will. So it'll be a 1-for-1 trade overall. Teleport coming through. That's an engage coming out from the Antonio. He does have that the flash available. Bushy there with the beat drop will land it and get the root. Bushy there on the front line now. Has no flash again. Cboi will go down. Click on the wrong side. StenBosse doesn't have that ultimate either. And that's a big overcommit from Macko. And Vodafone Giants will take a boatload of gold in their favor.
Oh, they might get some more. 113.
And he's just dead. No. He went for it.
He tried, bless him, but nah, that's okay, a little bit gifted over to Macko right there, but honestly, it's not smart, honestly, for Macko. Like, being pushed out this far and then, you know, getting collapsed on. I think, honestly, this is a good play. This is a good play by Vodafone Giants, a good play by the Antonio to get back in here, and once Cboi can return this kill onto Kasing, then you dip out. You just run away, because you don't have a team comp that wants to early skirmish. So when this TP comes through from Seraphine, it's a very forward TP, and so then you're running forward. You're all grouping together as a team. You're trying to get these return kills, and it's like, okay, but what happens when other people show up? We're screwed. Nasus has TP, doesn't even use it because he's AP Nasus. He doesn't want a TP in a place. He just wants to sit mid and wave clear. Like, it just really does not benefit Macko's team comp in the slightest to try and go for these plays. And yet they opted into it and they got punished.
Sebekx, though, just casually farming away. As you mentioned, he's not bothered about moving from that mid lane right now. Not a huge gold lead.
Nasus, by the way.
It's Sheen.
Sorry.
That's not AP
He's
Nasus.
maxing Q as well. Yo,
actually
we've been
just
talking
farming.
so much about that AP Nasus. He's not even AP Nasus. Oh my goodness. This changes everything.
It's actually just Nasus.
It's just Nasus in the mid lane. Yo. Okay. You know what? I'm going to let you talk for a little bit because I want to see what he does. I'm going to look up his match history on AP Nasus, on not AP Nasus.
Well, he's been happy farming, then I can see why he didn't want to teleport. He doesn't really care. He just wants to get those stacks, and Sebekx in this matchup has been very happy just to absorb the waves, farm as much as possible right now. You can see he's got 93 stacks on his siphoning strike at this point in the game. He's already starting to stack up pretty nicely, I would say, for 6 minutes in. Just hit that 96 mark, almost bordering on the hundreds. Antonio's getting dived in the meantime. Will eventually die to Cboi here. Shutdown comes through. Cboi will take that back. StenBosse will clear the wave and deny a significant amount of minions. But it'll be Vodafone Giants that just start the Dragon up with that top side commit.
Yeah, first Dragon of the game, not going to be too bad right here for Giants because they do have that early game in their pocket. If they can get those Dragons snowballing, that'll be beautiful stuff. The Antonio though in a little bit of a pickle, level 5 to level 7. This is one benefit of that play bot side, is like Antonio was gone for so long that StenBosse was able to get quite a significant lead in that solo lane as far as like golden XP goes. Look at that, oof, you've got inverted CS numbers there, 6-3 and 3-6. That's a pretty big diffy for 7 minutes into the game, and he is going to struggle. I don't think it's going to get any easier either once Trundle reaches level 6. You know, Antonio can become a little bit of paper in that top side and might be able to keep getting punished. Got to be careful of that one.
I actually just think as the longer this game goes, the more the Macko are favored. Like, they have the Seraphine, which is like a really insane scaling teamfight tool. Obviously, you have a Nasus that hasn't been challenged in the early game, happily farming up. I think the teamfight from Macko is just really good. Like, if you can just get Vodafone Giants in one place and layer your ultimates on top of each other, layer your abilities, don't really see a good way that Vodafone Giants actually respond, bar Attila popping off on the back line and keeping his range.
I feel kind of silly assuming this was going to be an AP Nasus just because it was in mid. Like, honestly, it changes the entire dynamics of this team comp. Like, you were lacking damage threat before with AP Nasus. You don't anymore. Like, you have Karma, you have Seraphine to play around you. You've got Trundle shredding resistances. This Nasus build, you know, he's going to go pretty standard Nasus stuff. You know, he's going to get Divine Sundra and then like CDR and tank items. He's going to run rampant through the enemy squad, and he's going to do it really fast through that phase rush and with the rest of his team speeding him up and buffing him up as well. He's just going to try and get some stacks, get at least one item. You got to get at least that Divine Sundra. But Macko, they're not going to wait for that item. They want to go in.
They want ordered there. Cboi overextended once more, gets knocked up, and 113 will do the work as Sebekx gets thrown into the middle of the team fight. StenBosse doing work as well. There's a huge amount of damage, and Sebekx is there. He's trying to find the kill. The siphoning strike will take down Miniduke. The brothers of the desert are scary beasts with their ultimates up, and Macko will win the fight for the time being.
All right, the power of Renekton, too strong right here. He's really, really far ahead. He's absolutely huge. I thought you needed a little bit more time for Sebekx to get in with those stacks, with those items, but nope, not necessary at all. StenBosse is going to be a little bit careful. He's pretty low. Giants should give this one up. They don't want to, but they should.
They don't want to, but they certainly should. That'll be the Rift Herald going the way of Macko. And they'll be very happy with that match. I mean, we talked about this being a strong roster. They are looking good so far. Let's take a look back at that team fight.
And I thought this was a little bit too much for Macko. You know, you're out of position, you're outnumbered right here. 5-man strong for Giants. Cboi instantly dies. Sebekx then gets kicked back in. But look at the power of Renekton, what he's able to do. Very quickly, it all turns away in Macko's favor. And it's Vodafone Giants having to run away. Sebekx got that stack as well onto Sylas, so he's very happy about that one.
He takes the stack.
Look,
1,900 damage.
What the hell, man?
Cboi. Oh, he's just like core HP and Miniduke. Miniduke had to use that stolen ultimate as Cboi forced to flash away from 113. Sebekx is farming, mate.
My goodness, there's definitely some kind of poetic justice in a guy who's named Sebekx playing Nasus. I think that's definitely something. And he's massive right now. I don't know how many stacks he's on. I'm gonna guess he's on like 250. At like 10 minutes, he's stacking up crazy. He's got that CDR. He's ready for team fights with like Merc Treads as well. You saw in the last fight, Bushy had 57 damage. You don't need damage from him. It's 190, right? 190 stacks. 190,
yeah.
But still, a lot.
Cboi doesn't have flush here. Has to be using that ultimate, trying to get bailed out by his bot lane. A lot of shields coming through now. 113 overextended. StenBosse is here with the stun, and 113 will eventually go down to Bushy and Sebekx. Oh my god, look at that stuff. This man is two-shotting people. What is that, Nasus?
My good. Yeah, we're 10 minutes into the game and this is happening. Like, oh god, no, there is just no peace. There's no rest. Sebekx, what? Oh god, it's like, yeah, okay, it's kind of scary, honestly. So the downside of Nasus is you spend a lot of time stacking up before you get really strong, and once you get into like later, you're easy to like, kite and stuff like that in team fights. So it's kind of a catch-22 where you want to play for late, but when you go late, your champion's just by design not as great in grouped up situations. But we're 10 minutes in, and Sebekx is already absolutely boinking people with that staff, and yeah, it's pretty scary.
I think you also need to look at the mechanics of how Vodafone Giants would even approach team fights, right? It's not like you're running an Orianna or a Victor or something that, you know, can play with Ezreal at range and expect to deal a significant amount of damage at that level. You've got a Lee Sin, a Sylas, and an Ornn, and you're going to stand on top of a Nasus and a Renekton with their ultimates popping in the middle of a team fight. I just think mechanically you're relying on Attila to carry this game right now for the Vodafone Giants, because otherwise I think everybody else is just going to die.
Yeah, I mean, when does a Spanish team not rely on Attila to carry? Let's be real. Like he's always in EU Masters and he's always putting up big performances. I'm not worried about his ability to carry because it's Attila. Either way, we're going to get a team fight here. This is Macko's comfort zone though. Right now, like they're strong as a 5-man unit. That is a big ulti though from the Ezreal. They might just have to chill out of this one.
Attila doing what he needs to do, just poking from the sidelines, making it difficult. Again, though, Macko don't really have, apart from the Seraphine ultimate, they don't really have an insane engage tool. And so they need to wait for the Seraphine ultimate to be lined up in the correct spot, or they need Vodafone Giants to kind of walk on top of them like we saw at that Rift Herald fight. But they're not going to take the fight when Attila's just doing work over the wall and they can't really get to him.
So both teams have dipped out of this one. I think Macko were just going to concede that, and Giants decided they didn't quite necessarily realize, but now they've got to push in mid, they might just go for it here instead. There's going to be 2 dragons here, so it's either Cloud or Mountain as our soul for today. Honestly, I think either one is going to be really good for Macko if they can get it, and it is going to be that Mountain drag, so that might give a little bit more defenses to stop you getting 3-shot from Sebekx. Maybe now he'll just 4-shot you instead, but it's something where if Macko are able to kind of turn it around and get some dragons here, they're going to be really happy stacking up this mountain.
Yeah, and we have the Rift Herald working his way over towards the Antonio. Kasing is kind of trying to work his way towards this top lane. StenBosse will take the free plates though, doesn't want to commit too hard to the tower. Can't see where both 113 and Kasing are on the map right now, so he's not going to overcommit.
The Giants just moving around the map here, using their pushes in the solo lanes to get some vision, get some jungle camps, take some gold off of the map from Macko. And here's Sebekx. He's just chilling. He's just happy. Getting those... Okay. Oh, it's going to run out. Yep, fair enough. Sylas has a limited amount of time. You can steal something before it expires, so you just throw it down for the poke if it is about to run out. Look at that. What's that? 267. Woof. He's getting up there. He's pretty scary.
This is going to be difficult for Vodafone Giants. As I said, you're relying purely on Ezreal, I think, at this point. And you can see Antonio, again, wants to commit to this. They should be able to take down the tower relatively easily. The Ornn drop to try and buy some time to allow this escape to happen. But StenBosse and Choi, as you said, will steal those resistances, make it very easy for StenBosse and Cboi to get the kill.
And this is all shadows of what happened in the first 10 minutes of the game with that TP to bot side from Antonio. It was a good play for Vodafone Giants. They came out on top. They won the skirmish. All in all, got a positive gold lead. But the thing is, Antonio was gone for so long. It gave a 2-level lead to the Renekton top side. He was able to get so far ahead where this is all just the fallout of that. Now you can just bully this Ornn lane, and normally that's something we wouldn't have to worry about, but because it's a Trundle coming at you as well, when you've got that ulti to shred his resistances, he's just not tanky at all, and suddenly the whole role of the Antonio in this game is put in jeopardy. He can't hold in the side lane anymore. We got to fight though. Cboi, StenBosse.
113, StenBosse is in the middle of it. Sebekx coming in, looking for the bonk. Does he find the bonk? He doesn't to Miniduke for the time being. StenBosse gets shut down though with a beautiful true shot barrage. But will it matter is the main thing. You can see Macko are trying to force down this mid lane tier 1. Sebekx not particularly keen to use his resources on taking it down right now.
He's got TP. I think he's just got a buy. He must be sitting on a lot of gold. Yeah, so he just finished up his Divine Sunderer. I guess it's a big purchase for the old Nasus, getting that Divine Sunderer. But yeah, I mean, I would like to see. I just kind of want to see how much damage he did to the tower. I'm not going to lie. I just went in to whack it around the head a little bit and definitely get a decent amount of chip damage from that, just being Nasus.
Shown himself in the bot lane. He does have teleport here, but I don't really think Macko are in position to stop this Rift Herald going down. And they should get it. I mean, Vodafone Giants are not exactly behind. They're really 200 gold is negligible at this point in time. And they do have 2 dragons in their favor. So Macko, despite having a couple of really strong team fights, yet to really sort of make their mark. But maybe they're just not bothered. I mean, the way that Sebekx is playing, it's clear that he's not that bothered. He just wants to farm up. Maybe that's the game plan for Macko. They just know that if they get to a certain point in the game, they get to a certain number of stacks or items, that the way these team fights play out, time and time again, Attila's not going to have the juice to carry through. And Macko are just pretty happy by saying, well, if we take this late, we don't care because we think we win anyway.
I think honestly that's just what you got to do as Macko. Like, you have like probably the least proactive team you could have ever drafted. There's not really any special go buttons. You can't really catch people necessarily. You're just relying on grouping up and hoping you can suffocate the enemy with your AoE teamfight skills. You know, with Seraphine, with Karma, and slapping that all down onto like a Renekton Nasus. So yeah, they're not really going to be the ones to pull the trigger this game. And Giants have better tools for doing that. And it's why you can see Giants are often the first ones to move around the map. They are able to take control just a little bit from the champions that they've picked. But really, you know, I think a lot of pressure on Attila. Speaking of out of position, good cleanse.
Oh, and he gets charmed up after using the cleanse there. But 113 trying to fight back onto StenBosse. He will find it, but he'll drop his life. Miniduke now steals that Seraphine ultimate and uses it to lock Sebekx down, who does drop. Overextended. And now I think Cboi desperately finding his way out. Won't manage to go down here as Vodafone Giants, just lacking a bit of damage right at the end, is a 2 for 2 overall though. Yeah, but crucially, Dragon's going to spawn in 8 seconds. A really, really good timing right here to find that favorable fight for Vodafone Giants. Because you did just lock Sebekx down before he was able to do anything. He's not tanky right now. You know, he's built up that stacks. He's got the damage. He's got the Divine Sunderer. He's got it all going. But look, where are the tank items? So it's just not there right now. He's gonna get that Frozen Heart. You know, he's gonna get that Spirit Resist. He's got the makings of the Thorn Mail. But as it is right now, not tanky. Easy to shut down. For Macko, they're not gonna give this Dragon over for free. Sebekx is TP'd back in mid. It'll be Miniduke stealing that Trundle ultimate away this time round. They're going to start to force this one down. They don't have that Seraphine ultimate to work with. Some of their team fight power is lost as the True Shot Barrage comes through. That will just be a secure right now. And Macko want to make them pay as Miniduke is low. StenBosse taken down. A great knockup from Kasing. But Cboi and Sebekx are on the front line right now. Attila is doing work. No one can stop him. And I think without those team fight tools, Macko just aren't a match for Vodafone Giants. Certainly not. Vodafone Giants able to win out on these team fights. They got, oh man, yeah, they got the catch before. They're getting the catches now as well. Macko, like, this is where they had their strength. This is where their comp relies on to get those advantages, and it's just not happening for them. You've got to think at this point on now that you have a fairly significant lead, especially as far as the map state goes for Vodafone Giants. It's going to look very difficult here for Macko on out. Take a look at the Antonio here, because it's a mix between Kasing and the Antonio with this sick knockup. I think it's, yeah, it's Antonio. Yeah, like that's, okay, look. What are the chances that you've got a Mountain Soul to change the map to set up that one little bit of terrain that wins you a team fight for Antonio? Like, honestly, that is kind of unlucky. That little bit of wall shouldn't be there. 75% of the time it's not there, but it is in this game, and Antonio just rams his head into it, and blimey. Whew. Yeah, that time is my story. That's why I was so confused. I was like, surely a 3-man knockup's got to be Grand Entrance, right? But no, it was just the Antonio finding that excellent knockup on the wall, which, as you said, the benefit of the Mountain Dragon. And that now is a little bit of a lead for Vodafone Giants. That's what they were looking for. But more importantly, look at the one guy that counts for Vodafone Giants. Yep. Ezreal. He is 6-1-5. He's got the Last Whisper finished up as well. So suddenly that armor and some of the resistances that Cboi is picking up will start to get shredded through. And Sebekx, I think, despite having the Bramble Burst and the Mercury Treads this game, has started to feel a little less useful in these team fights.
100%, man. This is the difficulty right now. Like you had the accelerated early game for Nasus. This is honestly why you don't see a lot of Nasus, because what you've been seeing out of the last 2 team fights is kind of how Nasus just plays. The issue is, like, in this game specifically, because Sebekx was able to get ahead, he was actually a decent amount of threat way earlier than he should have been. But you're not able to leverage that. They haven't been able to do too much for this Nasus with Macko, and you know, because you're basically now just playing without a mid laner. He's just clearing waves. He's just clearing waves. He's not applying pressure on the map. You can't group up with him necessarily to put down vision or anything like that. He doesn't really provide any threats in a 1v1 either. In these grouped up scenarios, he's not tanky enough to survive. It's really difficult at this point for Macko, because you just got to hold out and you've got to keep scaling and keep farming. But Giants are absolutely not going to let that happen.
You can see they're grouping up around this blue side jungle. They want to stop Sebekx getting these free stacks on the side lane. Although realistically, I think the only thing that Macko have to make these team fights work is they need to have that Seraphine ultimate. If they don't have that ultimate ready to go, you know, you aren't really facilitating Sebekx or StenBosse really on these 2 champions. Those are the 2 champions that need that Seraphine ultimate to actually get there and actually basic attack people. Because in the meantime, the Antonio, despite having an absolutely giga awful early game, all he needs to do is find those knockups and find the disengage with the Ornn, and everything is fine.
Yep. The Antonio is like the king of roleplay, man. I don't mean that in a way like he's going to charge in and say, "How about thee?" whenever he's playing. I mean, generally just whatever the role he's set on in the game that he's done. You know, he'll just do it. He'll do it perfectly. Vodafone Giants have relied on him to do that for years, and he's always been great at it. And he's showing you as well, even in this game. Yeah, it was a real struggle for him coming back into that lane after the TP play. But it's just so unselfish. You know, he did get a lot of benefits from his team by making that play. Sure, he then struggled in the top side, but his team was able to use that, and especially Attila was able to kind of use that as like a jumping platform, you know, get off of that and get that lead, and from then he's just absolutely massive.
Both Cboi and FLICKR funneling gold into Bushy right now, who's a little further behind his bot lane counterpart, 40 CS and a couple of items as well. Attila is absolutely smurfing. I think Attila kind of did through the playoffs in the LVP as well. Him and Kasing actually had a really good performance in the playoffs. And actually Kasing at 0-1-11 as well. Nearly 100% kill participation has been there every time that he's been setting up Attila. Vodafone Giants have been doing it with their bot lane. You can see why they play through this very veteran and very experienced bot lane. And this might be another opportunity to look for a fight too, as Macko are not quite set up correctly. You can see they want to force something. Attila, though, is just taking a forward position.
Sebekx, keep an eye on that stat counter. 450 at 24 minutes in. This is it now, though. Is that enough? You basically reached the timer of scaling now for Macko, because this is the 4th dragon. It's the engage.
It's the engage. That is the reverse Seraphine ultimate, as Kasing is essentially buying time. Lots of heavy people. It's a steal. It is a steal on the Drake, and now suddenly everyone is in the pit, and Sebekx isn't dead. This is where the sustain will start to come through from Macko.
Ooh.
You can see Attila, though. Attila just finding people on the outside. No one able to touch him, and the rest of Macko know it. They will take that with a blessing and walk away from the team fight, having stolen the Drake and getting a kill in their favor. That's probably the best you can hope for. Attila, though, he wants it. He is on that front line, looking to stop Macko from pushing down mid.
This feels a bit risky, though. Attila does so much damage. They've got a flank as well from Giants. Can they turn?
That is a nice knock up there. Cboi running in again over the wall here for 113 and Attila. And they're going to turn right back on to Antonio, who's trying to find that flanking position. Everybody grouped up right now. The knockup doesn't quite land. It's a great stun from StenBosse to stop it from happening. Kasing trying to find another grand entrance. The teleport's coming through.
But is it Baron?
But they should be able to back off. They have loads of sustain here, though. So much sustain from Macko. When they're grouped up, they're getting great use out of it. And now Miniduke is going to get locked up. Has that ultimate and the stasis to keep him alive for the time being. Sebekx now just hovering on the sidelines. There's the engage again. Once more on the front line. No one able to touch the back, but the sustain is starting to come through big for Macko. And they take off another kill as 113 drops. They want more, though. Cboi into Antonio. Oh my god, Kasing straight into the middle of the fight. But Sebekx just feels too big. Look at that stuff. slapping them on the head, and Miniduke goes down. Attila, the only one left alive.
It's Decane, baby. There it is. Sebekx, 25 minutes in, just mopping up these team fights. He is so ridiculously strong. You can see the power of grouping up though for this Macko squad. You've got the Karma, you've got the Seraphine, and suddenly with all those shields, with all that healing, it's just too much to get through. And those big juggernauts, the giants of Nasus and Renekton, it's too much. Macko going to win the team fight, all three of them, or however many it was, and they're going to take the Baron Nash.
Oh my goodness, that right there was the kind of team fight that I think Macko were looking for as well.
Yeah.
You know, let's take a look back at it again now, Foxy. It was all grouped up in a choke point, which they love.
Yeah, I really thought this was a bit too much. I'm not going to lie, for Macko. I thought, you know, with the Zhonya's and the flank from the Antonio, I thought this would just end awfully for Macko. But no, just keep your eyes on Sebekx. He's like full health. He just slaps people about. Anytime he presses Q and right clicks, so much damage. Where is it? Wow, yeah, exactly. There it is. He enters raid boss mode, and it's just too much. The thing with Nasus ulti.
Oh, it's just
beautiful
so good.
Stuff. Yo, imagine you've qualified for the E-Masters from the LVP, one of the greatest leagues that we have here in Europe. You're the first seed, you're playing your first game, and this big bloody dog with a stick just comes charging at you and smacks you into the dirt.
I think the problem is that Vodafone Giants played themselves a little bit. I think they got a little too hyphy with how some of the previous team fights had gone, and now you can see Macko happy with this Baron minion wave to push in, and we have Sebekx has teleport available, so can get into this fight if he needs to, but Macko don't want to over-force it right now.
I think now, honestly, the pressure's on Giants. They've got to force and engage. They've got to stop this this split push because, yeah, because that. Like, you don't have a lot of time. You're not given much windows to force this engage. The thing is that Macko have perfect tools for disengaging. You know, just the Karma speed up, the Pillar and the Seraphine speed up as well. It's really hard to get caught, honestly, if you're on Macko. It's a perfect situation for them now.
The sustain is really big from Macko now as well. You know, Nasus sustains naturally, StenBosse sustains naturally. You get some sustain from Bushy, you get some sustain from Karma. Trundle has his ultimate. Like, yeah. you can see why an early Serraldo's Rush came through. You can see why that's a very early complete of the Thorn Mail. Like, these grievous wounds are needed because otherwise you're just not going to deal with the healing.
Mm-hmm. This is it. I honestly don't think there's enough anti-heal, honestly, on the side of Giants for what's going on. It's really difficult though, because at this point, like, you wanted to look for the forced engage on Macko, because you want, if you catch people in CC, they can die really, really fast, like the Karma, the Seraphine. These are the facilitators of the entire team fight, but they are very squishy by themselves. They are vulnerable. You can catch them out of position. And even if they're not even that far out of position, you know, you just get them in one CC chain, bam, you can blow them up. The problem is now, though, that because Macko is so far ahead, they're actually in like a really good spot this game. It's really hard for you to pick these guys out of position. You've basically just got Ez on Attila on Ez, who's just throwing out these skill shots, but he doesn't necessarily blow people up, doesn't burst them. It's more like sustained poke, and we're going to get another team fight.
Yeah, Cboi now running in here, looking for some kind of engage. It is obviously this Mountain Dragon. I like the way that Vodafone Giants are playing this time round. More slow, just kind of relying on Attila to do the work. Cboi warding Miniduke away from the flank here. The Antonio doesn't manage to escape. Takes a load of damage. Here comes the engage. It is a huge Seraphine ultimate to buy some time, and Sebekx on the front line by himself, by the way. Absolutely slapping with the cane right now. It is a 2-for-1 overall. And that's the jungler going down. But oh my god, Attila! Bushy almost dies. They're going to start this dragon up, though. This will be the Mountain Dragon being forced. Miniduke and Attila by themselves. It is the soul, as you said. Somehow Macko need to get themselves back into this pit. As Miniduke on the sideline looking for Bushy right now. He just dies. Just gets bopped. Absolutely slapped on the sideline there. And now Cboi chasing down Attila, who's forced a flash at the very end. Kasing will get dropped low. There's the true shot right. Oh my god, it does work. Attila by himself, this one-man army, desperately he just gets him. This is going to be rough. This is going to be rough. This is going to be rough. Cboi has to go for the smite here. Attila's looking for it. He won't get it. I think that will be a secure from Cboi as Sebekx desperately tries to get out of the pit, but he will be the sacrificial lamb as Attila gets the shutdown. Nothing else to get right now as Cboi flashes away, but I think Attila is going to start to chase him down. Does have that Serraldo's grudge. Cboi though, he's out.
Oh my god, what is happening here, mate? This is ridiculous. Okay, the first thing I want to say about this team fight is like Macko from the very beginning misplayed the positioning because they were split 3 and 2. 3 on the backside, 2 up front. You don't want to see that one. You know what? We'll save that because maybe Macko are thinking about no, okay, they're just hovering around, just baiting us a little bit there. Basically, like, this is what you're going to see. Watch how this is a fight on 2 fronts. Sebekx, Cboi, or Sebekx and StenBosse, I think it is, are running at Vodafone Giants in Attila, 113 Kasing, and then the rest of Macko are dealing with Miniduke and the Antonio. So watch this. Sebekx, StenBosse, they're going to move forward right here. Look, bam. 3 on one side, 2 on another. The problem is, for Macko, you've got to be a 5-man unit. Sebekx and Renekton, you know, and what's his face playing Renekton. These 2 champions are so strong in these fights. If you can power them up, juice them up with Karma and with Seraphine. But when you split like that, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't happen. And that was the problem right there. Full Macko in the beginning, and then it's just woof, fighting and fighting and more fighting.
I mean, this is Attila and Kasing versus the world as well. Attila, he is the golden key. He is the skeleton key for the Vodafone Giants to actually find a win in this game right now. The range and the ability to kite back, the strength of this super safe bot lane with the Ezreal and the Rakan, this is essentially what they're relying on. And everything else is just about peeling for Attila. It has to be Attila that carries this game. He has lost Flash though for the next fight. And you'll see Cboi manage to escape right at the end. But I mean, goodness, if you're looking for a bigger 1v9 game right now, Attila is popping off.
Yep, for sure. And Macko, you can't make the same mistake again. You've got to be 5 people. You got to stick together. Whether you're all peeling or you're all diving, doesn't necessarily matter. You just have to all be doing the same thing. If you've got StenBosse and Sebekx split up, you're not going to win the fight. We'll see how they execute this one.
This is risky, I think, for Vodafone Giants because they kind of force Macko onto them right here. Here's going to be the flank, and that's immediately going to be Sebekx dead. That is Raid Boss down, and I don't know if the damage is there. Oh my god, StenBosse in conjunction with Bushy. They want it. They want to go for this fight. Attila just can't quite find the angles right now. Does have a couple of those little mystic shots he's firing out. Bushy takes a third of his HP with just a single one on Attila on the front line there. He's doing a huge amount of damage. He's going to chase Macko out of the pit right now. But the damage is done. 2 for 2 overall, a super close affair. But Vodafone Giants, they want to keep the ball rolling, and they're going to start up the Baron.
Yeah, and they're going to get the TP flank here as well from Miniduke. Oh, I don't know how this one's going to play out. It's going to be tight. Attila's huge.
They're going to try and get the Baron for sure as Cboi now walks his way towards that Baron pit. Click takes the human damage. As you said, Attila is huge right now. It's a great charm. It's a beautiful charm from Miniduke. And Attila and Miniduke 2 versus 3. And they get the Baron too.
Attila is just too strong. They're going to find that ace. They're going to get the Baron buff. And they're going to barrel down mid. Can Sebekx defend his base? He's not an AP Nasus. He doesn't have the wave clear. And by himself, he's not really going to have enough. It's the 2 brothers against the world. Can they defend against Vodafone Giants?
Be scary to dive a Renekton and a Nasus who have their ultimates available, but that is going to be Miniduke picking his up. You can see they're already popped. Sebekx hit right into the middle. He doesn't have the ability to get onto Ezreal, and Attila is legendary. StenBosse tries, but he can't. Raid Boss is down, and Vodafone Giants on the back of Attila's Ezreal will cruise into that first win of the European Masters.
What a game that was, though. Honestly, anytime you see a Nasus locked in, it's going to be a pretty exciting game. Well, I mean, Nasus doesn't have the most exciting playstyle, but we did see an exciting game this time around. Honestly, just got to say, though, with the way that the team fights were executed in the back half there of that game for Macko, again, around the Baron buff, same thing. Sebekx ran forward. He dove into the back line by himself, and he gets instantly blown up. It's just... yeah, you can't really... You have to 6-5. Macko didn't do that. Other than that, though, it was a really close game. Definitely very entertaining.
Yeah, I think you've got to credit Kasing and Attila, just the spacing that they had that game, kind of the ability to kite backwards, and Attila just constantly keeping them at range. That's where the Ezreal really was that Achilles heel for this like Nasus Renekton composition. They just couldn't get onto the backline. They didn't really have a good tool, and it was you know, short of an incredible Seraphine ultimate when Cleanse wasn't available for Ezreal, there wasn't a good way to actually make that happen. So, you know, all credit to Attila. He did what he needed to do. He was the primary win condition for Vodafone Giants, and he made it happen. But I'm impressed with Macko. I think again, another what we consider usually a weaker, in inverted commas, region, sending an incredibly strong team to the European Masters. This group is not going to be clear cut, I think. At the end of that game, it's only a 5k, even less than that, 4.5k gold difference that actually separated them. Incredible play from both of these guys. Now, we are going to cut to a very short break. When we're back, we'll be able to break down the action a little bit further for you. to the Amazon European Masters. Vodafone Giants, they took a spicy game against Macko. Oh my god, sorry. Anyone doesn't know, I'm not feeling 100% today. My brain's a little bit slow. It was a spicy game, but Attila and Kasing did the work from the bot lane to ensure that they had that win condition alive. And I think they played a lot of those later game team fights really well. But that didn't stop Sebekx from being a monster this game. He certainly made me fear Nasus mid a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. I think honestly it was pretty back and forth, and I think the Macko to begin with, got a really good start, and the Nasus was looking pretty scary, and those mid-game team fights didn't quite work out for them. So Vodafone Giants, you're going to see here, this is a great turnaround using the Mountain Soul map to get a huge knock up from Ornn. And yeah, Attila was just massive. In all these fights you're going to see, Attila's always doing something, win or lose. Attila was just popping off, just making huge plays. The difficulty for Macko, honestly, is like you have to stay as 5, you have to group up and really just ignore what the Ez is doing to you. But they couldn't do that, you know, and there were times when, like this, you're going to see, bam, it works absolutely beautifully, and you see the power of this Nasus mid. But there are other times when it just didn't quite work out.
Really feel like, you know, Macko had to do these groups around neutrals. They had to force the 5v5s and hope they could just walk into Vodafone Giants with the pure strength of their kind of mid-game working out for them. But as soon as this got later on, you were relying on what felt like the perfect team fight with the Seraphine ultimate layered on top of everything. And that was too difficult to execute on, in my opinion. And Attila and Kasing, absolute beasts. In almost every team fight, these guys were out of this world good, especially Attila. And I think he deserves all the credit that he's supposed to get. I think it's very easy to give him the credit, but he deserves it because he has absolutely smurfed this game.
Yeah, he was massive for Giants, absolutely huge. We see Attila all the time in EU Masters. He is no rookie to this stage, and he always delivers. Like, he always plays really, really well. He's just terrifying, absolutely terrifying. As far as AD carriers go, you know, I put him alongside like Woolite, just ridiculously good in the EU Masters, huge performances. And yeah, this was right at the end of the game. Really sealed it for Vodafone Giants, getting that Baron, able to push it down mid as well. Just look at that goal graph, man. That says a lot, and so does the damage chart. That also says a lot too.
My goodness, 60.3k on Ezreal this game. That is kind of nutty. And even 30. I'm surprised, 30.5k on the Sylas as well. He had a pretty solid game. Overall, Giants kind of keeping that form alive. I think a little shaky, but again, versus Nasus mid, it can be difficult to know how to play this one out. They kind of figured it out towards that late game, and I think people are very well known. Giants were very well known for having good late game win conditions. They play team fights really well. And as we know, Attila is a super late game carry, and I think they made it work in their favor this time round. We have one more game though tonight, Foxy, and I'm pretty excited about this one. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to cut it to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll have the defending European Masters champions in the form of K-Corp going up against Mouse from the Dark region. We'll see you soon.